In a world where Voldemort triumphed during the First Wizarding War, the story of the magical and non-magical world transformed into a perpetual nightmare. His victory marked the beginning of a new era of darkness, where terror and oppression became the natural state of existence. After defeating the Order of the Phoenix and subjugating the Ministry of Magic, Voldemort solidified his power through an autocratic rule led by dark wizards and his loyal Death Eaters. Hogwarts, once a sanctuary for education and hope, was turned into a bastion of indoctrination where children were taught to fear and obey. Muggles, deemed inferior and a threat to magical supremacy, were either enslaved or exterminated en masse. The great Muggle cities lay in ruins, shrouded in a veil of dark magic that isolated them from the rest of the world. The few Muggles who survived lived in small, clandestine communities, constantly on the move to avoid magical hunters sent by Voldemort's regime. Muggleborns also faced a grim fate, as they were considered blood traitors and were mercilessly hunted. Harry Potter, the boy once destined to defeat Voldemort, never had the chance to become the chosen one. After the attack on his parents, Voldemort managed to kill him while he was still a baby. Lily and James Potter died trying to protect him, but without the sacrifice that granted Harry his mother's protection, Voldemort's killing curse found its mark. The Resistance lost much of its morale with the fall of the Potters, and the few who survived were hunted down one by one. Over time, the wizarding world divided into castes. Pureblood wizards and witches held privileged positions, while half-bloods were tolerated only if they showed absolute loyalty to the regime. Squibs, considered a disgrace to magical families, were sent to labor camps or executed outright. The new order was built on fear and obedience. Even among the Death Eaters' elite, fear of Voldemort was pervasive, as betrayal or failure was punished with a slow and painful death. Dark magic permeated every aspect of society. The streets of magical London were patrolled by Dementors and dark creatures who obeyed only the Death Eaters' commands. Old magical traditions were replaced by dark rituals that glorified Voldemort as a demigod. Ordinary people lived in constant fear of unexpected visits from the regime's control organs. Any act of disobedience, no matter how small, resulted in entire families disappearing. However, even in the deepest darkness, some dared to dream of freedom. Small resistance groups emerged in the shadows, led by witches and wizards who had once been part of the Order of the Phoenix or had lost everything under Voldemort's regime. Hermione Granger, a bright, Muggle-born young woman who managed to escape the extermination camps, became one of the Resistance's most prominent leaders. Alongside Neville Longbottom, who had survived the brutal murder of his parents, they worked tirelessly to recover magical artifacts and gather allies. The task was monumental, but their greatest hope lay in rumors that some of Voldemort's Horcruxes had been located. These objects, which contained fragments of his soul, were the key to defeating him. Hermione and Neville dedicated years to tracing clues and deciphering ancient codes while trying to stay one step ahead of the Death Eaters. Every small victory came at a high cost, but also inspired others to join their cause. The final confrontation came in a moment of despair and hope. The Resistance had managed to weaken Voldemort by destroying most of his Horcruxes, but their forces were limited. In a final battle at the ruins of Hogwarts, the place that once symbolized hope and learning, the rebels faced Voldemort's regime in a desperate attempt to free the world from his yoke. Although the odds were against them, the indomitable spirit of those fighting for freedom proved to be a powerful force. History is not always written by the victors. In this case, Voldemort's fall marked the beginning of a long and painful rebuilding process. But the victory did not come without sacrifices. Many of the heroes who fought to the end did not live to see the dawn of a new era. Their legacy, however, endured, reminding the wizarding world that even in the darkest times, there is always light for those who dare to seek it.